Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spotlight on Procurement. If you're one of our regular listeners, you probably noticed that I'm not your usual host, Simon Lipscomb. Rest assured, he will be back. My name is Jessica Spicher, and I'm a principal with Officio based out of our New York office. And I will not be replacing Simon, but rather bringing you some additional content in a more bite-sized format in collaboration with some of our senior leaders across Officio. So, that being said, today I'm joined by Fabian Bodoky, who's one of our vice presidents here in North America. Fabian, welcome.
Hi, Jessica. Great to be here on your inaugural session.
Exactly. Yes, it's a big one. Very happy to have you. Would you mind doing a quick intro before we jump in?
I'm one of our vice presidents here in New York, responsible for a lot of the technology clients and some of the private equities, and with Officio for 11 years now already.
11 years. 11 years. I bet it feels like just yesterday you started.
Indeed, indeed. It has been a fast 11 years.
And over the course of those 11 years, I guess more recently, since I'm still just over one, we've had the opportunity to work together on a few projects. And I think that we would agree that when we think about common denominators of some of our clients who are more successful when it comes to procurement, has been a really strong relationship between procurement and finance. So I'm just going to cut to the chase with the question here, but what are three ways in which you, in your experience, have seen effective collaboration between procurement and finance really benefit an organization?
Indeed, we often see that procurement teams in general kind of think maybe not high enough of that connection. I think there are three elements where a strong relationship can really help procurement fulfill their activities. One is really making sure that the savings which procurement reports are signed off by an independent body gives it just a totally different weight in conversations in the management. And it's not the mentality of, yeah, nice to have, but, I don't see it in my
Right.
P&L.
Yep.
The second piece then is maybe on the very other end of the projects, if you can manage to early on get some of the savings actually put in the budgets of stakeholders, that can really help you to drive collaboration, especially with stakeholders who are maybe a bit more reticent to work with procurement. And it's really about building that relationship. This can be a nice stick approach as well.
Mhm.
And then the third piece would be this ongoing interaction helps as well then to unblock things on the go. And, you can report and escalate things with the help of finance rather than being the bad guy always yourself if things don't work well.
Absolutely. I think all three are very valid points. And I guess I will also add it's maybe easier said than done for some of our clients. So if we take the second one as an example, which may be one of the more challenging around making sure savings actually go to the budgets of certain key stakeholders, what are, I guess, some practical first steps a client could take to make sure that that happens?
When you do that for the first time, it will always be a bit of a leap of faith, and you need to take a deep breath and people will question. I think what you need to do is make sure that you have the right level of depth for achieving those savings in terms of details how you want to do it.
Yep.
Shouldn't be too detailed, but can't be just, hey, I came up with that number. I think you will need to have a round with your stakeholders and explain them the nature and how that's basically, still some uncertainty to it, but it's really a goalpost to set out, and that we're in it together. So it's not only the stakeholders' responsibility, but also procurement's. And if something changes, of course, be very advocates as well to kind of reallocate those savings. And then the third piece is really kind of when you're in the year when you need to achieve them, you want to constantly kind of go and look and monitor to reallocate if needed. You could do basically a bit of a step-by-step approach to just say, hey, in the first year we take it out overall, but get finances help to start those conversations, and then in year two really put it on a budget. So there are different levels of how to step up. You can kind of get a third party in to do the estimates and give it a bit more weight in that sense. Or if you're private equity owned, for example, you can look at some of the peers to give some examples that it's typical to achieve these savings.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's the being comfortable with an iterative approach versus feeling compelled to have this working in the ideal end state right out of the gate. Like it's a complicated process, right? So I think that's very good steer. So with that, we did promise everyone that we would keep it short and sweet. So I think we can wrap. I just want to say, Fabian, again, thank you so much for joining us for the inaugural segment. It's been a pleasure having you. And to all of our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the discussion and look forward to seeing you soon for another Spotlight on Procurement. Take care.